Welcome to the Stage 7 finale recap of the 2025 Cape Epic. We're with Team Cycle Sports, Alex Wild, Zach Calton. You guys made it. You finished the race. You came in 42nd overall. You maintained your GC position, 41st on the stage. The stage was shortened. Originally, it was supposed to be longer, supposed to have a significant amount of climbing. I'm curious to see if the numbers came out, but I believe it was supposed to be shortened down to 40K and 1,050 meters. Do you guys know roughly, is that what it ended up being?
I don't know climbing, but it was 43K.
Yeah, slightly longer.
And that was because of torrential rain, is that correct?
Yeah. So that steep climb, we went up the neck where a lot of people were walking. We were supposed to come down that, and I think it just turns into a river. And I talked to one of the specialized guys out here, and he was saying that the trails we were scheduled to ride are some of those that just don't hold up well to riding in the rain. So it just wouldn't be good for their trail ecosystem in general either. So I think it's just the right call for not leading too much of a trace. It's just hard when 1,000 riders are going through, but also just to be respectful of where we're riding and safety of the rider.
How do you manage that, though? Because they told you pretty late this morning, Alex, I saw a post from you on your social media channels. You were all caffeinated up and ready to go, but nowhere to go. How did you guys handle that? Because it's a pretty significant time delay that you had for the stage to even start the stage instead of starting, what was it, probably a 3.5 hour delay that you ended up having? Pretty significant.
Yeah, 2.5. But I think the big mistake they made was timing wise. It wasn't cool, essentially, that we're all in our warm-up when they announced it. Obviously, they have to make the call, but I feel like that rain, even not as locals, we knew was coming by the weather forecast. So I feel, if that's the case, you got to give people more time than that. But I mean, again, Cape Epic is a massive ship to turn, essentially. So not only do you have to go out and remark the course, but then do the 15, 10, 5K, make sure the live stream works for where they're going and all this. So I give them credit for making it and doing that work, and it's a lot of work. But yeah, I think we should have got that the night before. But again, it's way easier to be a rider and say, wow, you guys should really do a better job, having never thrown on a big race before in my life.
And it's a massive orchestration, that race as well. It's the amount of infrastructure in place and people to make it all work is astounding.
Yeah.
Zach,
go ahead.
Zach, how did you feel today? It's the last day. We talked a little bit yesterday about maybe some magic legs. Sometimes they come around on the final day. How'd you feel?
No magic legs to report. Yeah. I mean,
Dang it.
I gave it a good go. I really did try to ride into it. And yeah, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes ish, maybe less. I don't actually know. But at that point, I just there's not much to play for GC wise, and I did not have the legs to even kind of compete today. And at that point, I think my mind went, and then I kind of got like bonking sensations, and it was just like everything I had to just roll it in today. It was just tough, and it's been tough. So yeah, too bad, but it's the way she goes sometimes.
Looking back, how do you view this whole experience? Maybe you need a bit more time to process the whole thing that you've been through.
And
where are you at with that right? Where are you at with that right now, Zach?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't slightly negative, it was really hard, and we didn't come to and agree to do these podcast episodes hoping to be yeah, it's really hard and we are struggling too. We wanted to come on here and be yeah, we're dark horses and look at us, we're cruising, and so it's a disappointment. It's hard to, Alex has been super patient and gracious and all the good teammate, words I can say, anything that I needed him to be, give me space, give me encouragement, whatever, he's done it. But it still sucks, to underperform and put a lot of money and time and effort in for Alex and Alex's family and our mechanic and our soigneur, who have all been got super dialed, and then like just not show up, it hurts. So that sucks, but that's racing, you know.
Yeah, it is racing, and I think that there's a hard. We place expectations on ourselves many times that are tied into results and tied into ideal circumstances or just like typical circumstances, or you just would expect to show up with the form that you know that you could have. But boy, racing is just something else, especially with circumstances so extreme as this race. You know, it's tough to, even though we convince ourselves that we can train to be able to bring all that perfectly into form at the right time. It's pretty tough to do for sure. I'm curious to follow up with you, Zach, in a few months' time when you look back at this and see if time has allowed you to gain additional perspective on the whole thing. How has your perspective changed on Cape Epic? Like, what did you think it was beforehand, and now, was it different? Was it the same?
I mean, yeah, and to be clear, like, you know, I want to be transparent about the negative side, but I also am still aware of all the positives and the cool experience. And I'm here in South Africa, and you know, I'm really grateful. Like, a few people have sent me videos of, and the Cape Epic has posted videos of a guy riding around with literally one leg, and I'm complaining about like one leg hurting. You know, it just like there's always worse problems to have, and it's it's still going quite well. But to answer your question directly, yeah, it's logistically even harder than I thought, even as a pro with the support and not having to be in the tents and things. It's still logistically harder than I thought. And I think if we came again, it would be like, we need people to do our laundry and make our food and do, if you really want to like properly perform here, it's a logistical beast. It's really hard. And, yeah, obviously getting the form right is like the big thing. But yeah, I think in order to do that, travel needs to go well. Travel even earlier, became like 9 days early, and like still was feeling like trickling effects of travel. And then, yeah, like as far as the riding goes, it was a little less single tracky, a little less like epic maybe than I hoped, but still quite cool and quite hard. And there are also benefits to that too. Like, you can usually pass when you need to pass, and you can race hard all the time when there's double track. And we had plenty of mechanical and other issues with the little amount of epic, if you want to say that. So who's to say how it could have gone if there was 10 times as much single track or whatever. But yeah, it was a cool experience. It's more of a spectacle than I ever expected, for sure.
Yeah. How about you, Alex? This has been like a long-term goal for years now. I think that you've told me that like you've wanted to come over here, find a partner, make the whole thing happen, and this year you did.
Yeah. I mean, on that front, I think check the box. I think for me, the bike has always been kind of a pathway to travel, new experiences, new cultures. So I think for me, that like personal box is checked. And I guess as the quote unquote older rider, something I tried to impart on Zach as best I could when kind of our result went out the window is to try to just be present that we are here. And by no means does that negate his negative feelings. Those are valid as well. But I think just on the flip side of it, you'll look back and be like, man, it was a sick 8 days of riding in South Africa. And those are experiences that being fast at pedaling in dirt circles gives to us, which is pretty freaking cool if you bring it down to its basic parts. But yeah, I think even I had underestimated it in terms of the logistics and how much of an advantage having a huge support crew around you, like teams like SRAM and Specialized, and those big teams bring with them, right? Like, I know within Specialized, we have an office in Stellenbosch, and we have that here. So essentially, like Zach was saying, anything you need taken care of. And I mean, huge shout out to our mechanic, Bota from Pimp Your Bicycle.
Yeah.
Amazing name.
Johannesburg,
Yeah.
South Africa. If you're ever there.
Yeah, dude is so dialed. We, you know, for both of us, you can kind of fake it in 1 day races with the, you know, laundry, nutrition, stuff like that, because you're trying to perform 1 day, right? So it's like if at the end of the day you have to wash your bike and get everything ready for travel home, back-to-back weekends are hard. But I mean, it's nothing like an 8 day stage race. So I think having him, even down to little things like I needed 2 safety pins the other day, and he knew exactly where the race village was and who to ask for the race pins. Knew Candace, the organizer. Every day at the finish had like towels ready for us to wash ourselves down. Like, just took our bikes from us. And man, I underestimated that. When I pitched it to Zach, when you connected us, which was awesome, I was like, kind of thought of it as a fringe thing. Like, you know, I have it in the budget. I'm happy to do it. It would save us time, but I was kind of like, if Zach agrees to split it, then we'll do it. But man, if we had not got that, especially with the gnarly weather the last 3 days, like, it's a huge advantage. And I think regardless, there's experience in the pocket of, you know, these different areas of South Africa and a different terrain, as well as like, if I do want to come back to podium, what it takes logistically, like Zach said, it's just a monster, and it's a huge planning exercise that I underestimated.
Yeah, it's a behemoth of an event for sure. The people that were involved in making this happen, you mentioned your mechanic. Who else has like been involved, or even like just people out on the trail that you guys would like to shout out as, you know, for contributing the whole way through?
Definitely Boda, who's our mechanic. He's local here to South Africa. His wife, Renette, is our soigneur, which is awesome because they're here with their daughter, Karine. So the whole family unit's here, which I think is rad because we've both lived out of a hotel during a race, and it can be somewhat of a lonely existence. So we're always so happy that they kind of just go back to their family unit at the end of the day. They've been super dialed. My mom's here, my wife's here, my brother just arrived, my uncle and aunt are here, my sister-in-law's here. So it's just been a cool family experience for me, and I hope we made Zach one of the wilds, at least for the week. So
yeah, I was adopted this week, which is good. Yeah.
What about out on the trail? Did you guys? I remember when we did Cape Epic and we had the podcast going on. It became a thing within the race. Like everyone would, like, the next morning I'd show up and people would be like, I had no clue that happened or something, you know. And it was kind of fun to connect with people that way.
Yeah, I'll keep the mic and then hand it off to Zach. But I know we met a guy named Enzo the other day who said he was a TrainerRoad podcast listener. So shout out to Enzo because he's been listening. I didn't get names, but I passed a couple guys that were saying, "Oh, we listen to the podcast and then follow on Instagram." So it's just, I don't know, super cool to feel like I think it's good for us to see that the results aren't everything, and people are still inspired and happy to hear the story when you're not winning. Because I think for us, it gives us, I'd go as far as meaning beyond results in terms of like, we do this because we love riding bikes, and I think imparting that on other people, inspiring them to take on these challenges or keep going or anything like that is super awesome. So yeah, huge shout out to all the listeners and everyone we met over the week. Definitely felt like royalty.
Yeah. On the stage, I broke my wheel. I like got passed by the entire field as I'm just walking around, and a guy named Johnny from Ireland saw me, and I was like, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, running your bike. He's like, I heard Alex rode his rim on the time trial. Like, why are you riding it? Dude, I tried. And anyway, and he waited for me in the tech zone for a while, and he was like, let's go ride, because his partner, I think, had maybe some asthma scare issues. So he had also lost his partner that day. So he was riding really strong from further back where he would be in the field, because his partner took a break at a medical stop, and, you know, he made sure his partner was okay and then kept going. And so, we rode most of that neck climb and kind of the leading into it together. And we were both just dicing through the field and talking about all our woes and challenges, the, you know, hecticness of this race. So it was really cool. And a bunch of people have reached out on Instagram too, which has been awesome.
That's amazing. I also want to shout out TrainerRoad employees, Rousseau Becker, and then also we have, which Rousseau also was instrumental in connecting you with the right people to get the support you need, which is great. Rousseau's done fantastic with his teammate. Keegan Bontekonig has been in the top 10 solidly all week, and his teammate with the Insect Science team. It's like this race means a lot to me personally because of doing it, but then also a lot of our employees are actually from the South Africa region, and it means a lot to them too. And you've heard from them before on previous podcasts when they were doing this. Go and follow and support all of them too, Rousseau Becker and then also Keegan Bontekonig, and support them for everything that they're doing with this race too. Guys, thank you for, it's a pain to do these podcasts amidst everything else that you guys have going on with transfers. You don't know what the time is. You have me constantly badgering you, asking you what time. We just really appreciate it. And I'm sure that a lot of people appreciate hearing from you that just going through this experience helps you gain a different perspective. I think a lot of people listening to this, myself included, we hold ourselves to such high expectations, and we're very focused and narrow focused on those expectations. When those exact things don't happen, we tend to question if it was all worth it. But in my opinion, this is absolutely all worth it. Like you said, Alex, this is invaluable experience that you're getting through the bike, and you wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. So thank you for sharing your experience with us. Thank you for trying, for pushing as hard as you could through a lot of adversity, and not giving up. It's huge, and that's inspiring for all of us. You guys are amazing. So
Absolutely. And I know you say it every time, and I appreciate it, but Cycle Sport, Brittany and Angie, if you're listening, this has been top notch, and we really appreciate you being the link between us, because Cape Epic, obviously we have to share a sponsor, and for most other categories, we are on opposite ends of the spectrum, even arm wrestling at times. So go show your support for cyclesport.com. If you need a tube, you need sealant, you need a bike, they're an online brand, but they're also owned by two locals that started the business themselves and are rad people. So you're supporting local when you go cyclesport.com.
yeah, well said. A young family that loves bikes, and they're trying to do something really cool. So go support them. It's fantastic. Thank you, guys. With that in mind, Cape Epic 2025 is a wrap. Thanks to cyclesport.com, and thanks to Zach and his main sponsor there. He's got Yeti, he's got Shimano. He was drinking First Endurance and eating First Endurance throughout this whole entire race, and he was wearing an LEL kit. And then we also have Alex on the other side. I'm listing off these sponsors and you know who to buy from. Of Alex, and he's on his Specialized. He's got DNA kits. He's been pounding carbs fuel. I don't know how he brought all the gels over. And he's had a ride wrap on his bike as well. Go support him. Go support those brands. And guys, thank you.